and we are live on YouTube and Facebook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another POD Put Out Direct broadcast. And we are back with another show. I am your host, Brother Mordeeb. I got a full cast today. We're going to be talking about a very not too controversial, but personal topic that we can relate to. And some people don't like to talk about it, but we're gonna talk about it. And that is special education, special ed, rug room, blue room, whatever you want to call it. We're gonna talk about it. I would like to welcome to the show my man Andre Rice.
Hello, everybody.
Dang.
Y'all know
whack? Was that whack?
Nah. DCR in the building. Like to welcome Dave back to the show. He's becoming a regular.
Good evening, y'all.
He got fans now. Dave got fans.
Do I now?
Yeah, you got fans. when you turn into barbershop talk, you got fans.
All right.
You got fans.
Love it.
Like to welcome Sister J back to the show.
Sister J.
Hello.
Hey, Jay.
Yep. So on that note, how's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome.
We cold up here. As usual.
We cold down
cold.
here.
Oh my God.
We got a little bit of cold down here, but it's gonna be about 60 tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
it's
in
like
the 30s today with a high wind. It'll be 60 tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think Monday.
Yo, that's how it is.
Yep.
That's just how it is. Be 100 today and fucking tornado and everything else blizzard tomorrow.
Yeah, when I got up this
Imagine
morning,
a tornado on the shore though. That can happen, I'm sure, but have y'all ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
It has.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
how was it down in Florida, Jay?
It was like high 70. It was so windy today because of rain, of course, but it was nice. It rained like mid-afternoon. It rained until now. It's still I can hear it. It's still raining, but it's like high 70s actually.
Oh, okay.
So like, see, that's the temperature
Beautiful.
difference. So we had the same weather like they had, moist,
Right.
high winds, but it was freaking 30 degrees like we up north.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
then
it
you
was
get
a
like
flurry
Florida
this
weather.
morning.
It gets 70 in December.
That's right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is our last little push for us the cold snap, and then we just gonna go ahead and do what we
I
gonna
don't
do.
know about that, Shouty.
I knew you was gonna say
I don't
that.
know about that. Shouty.
Now, hopefully, this is our last
up
push.
here don't get warm until probably May or June, man. Like in between, it has this little teaser days, but nah, that's like late May. That's when it start getting warm up here.
Yeah,
For real.
that's a slow start.
It's
Yeah,
very
you-
slow. It's been like
That's
that for
a
the past
super
several
slow
years
start.
now.
It was nice. It was nice last
You in the
week.
city of New York or upstate?
Nah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Okay, you're in the city. Okay,
Yeah, I'm in the city, brother.
It
I gotta
starts
go to Brooklyn
getting
next week sometimes,
it
man.
starts
I gotta
getting
go next
warm
week.
May, June there, and then that's when it's scorching here. That's when it's scorching here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
because
Yeah.
that sounds like Midwest almost. Midwest, they'll still be cold like late May, like Chicago and places like that. It still be kind of cold. So when
Really?
you say that, but you said kind of early May in Brooklyn. So I mean in New York. So
I don't miss that. I don't miss the cold.
Yeah, Chicago
No,
gets
buddy.
really cold.
You should, Mr. Cole. You
Yeah.
should.
Nah, you sound like Yoda right now.
we just tolerated the
That's
cold. Did you
yeah,
ever like
that's
it? Who
the
liked
whole
the cold?
point.
You
That's
liked
the
it?
whole point. You should.
You will.
Where we from? Did any of y'all in our youth did y'all like the cold? I never
Yeah, I
did.
love
Of
it.
course.
I love
I
it,
love
man.
it.
Yeah,
Y'all loved
absolutely.
The cold?
Yeah.
Wow.
It makes you feel alive. It makes you feel alive. It brings.
The air is
It's
kind of
just
fresh
something
and burns
about
your
the
lungs.
cold
You
weather.
breathe too hard, but shit. Okay,
But see,
I didn't know
back
that
in
was
the
a thing.
days,
Hey, dude, I didn't know that was a thing.
back in the days, it was really cold.
Yeah.
It was fucked
Yeah,
up.
it
That's why I'm asking y'all that.
It was really cold.
My fingers
You
used to
know?
be like this. I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
feeling that.
That's how my fingers was like a few weeks, and then it been like kind of.
Nose.
Yeah.
Ears burning.
We wouldn't
Y'all
care.
remember that shit? Y'all liked
Hell
that?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that every day. That's why I
We
walk
were
to
younger,
work every
but we
day.
were younger then, and
were used
it,
to
but
it.
it
that's
was a
why I
little
walk.
Yes,
different. Like
toleration
now,
was more
you
higher,
know,
huh?
Yeah.
Man, I walk to work every
hits
day,
different.
even if it's below 0, 4 in the morning. I walk to work, dog. I jog to work sometimes. I do it all. I told him I like coming home with frozen hands and a runny nose, man.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it, dog.
You got that kind of
You better
spirit
than
where you
me
try to
because I
you
tell
always
Yeah.
challenge yourself.
I'll
Everybody
do
ain't
that aspect.
you got the spirit where you
Yeah.
always challenge yourself. Maybe that's the martial arts.
But it make me feel young when I get in the house because I be real. You know what I mean? You know when you get from
I
school,
don't know
right?
what you mean when you say it makes you feel young.
I
I'd be
need to get
battered.
like Pot. I understand what he's saying when he
Okay.
says it makes him feel young. However, like when I get out of bed, sometimes my knees are cracking, and
Oh, y'all
I
talking
gotta
about
stretch
nostalgia.
and do all
So you
kinds
talking
of.
about nostalgia.
That's probably what it
So-
is. That's probably what it is.
Nostalgia.
Most
It
likely.
I
makes
think
me
that
feel.
From young
hits
to adult.
different.
Okay.
See, this is the key. We're gonna talk about this another time. I know, but this
Yeah.
is the key of
'Cause
how
we about
you
to go into a
stand.
whole lecture about this. Mhm.
Let's go on, man. Let's just go on.
I
Yeah.
kind of keyed. Hey, Dre,
Moving
I kind
right
of
along.
keyed in. I kind of keyed in, and when he said something about it makes him feel young, I wanted to understand. But
Yeah,
it's something
I
about
kind of get it. I kind of get what he's saying. I
And
kinda
it's
all
not
get what
get
he's
just
saying.
feeling young, Shawty. It's actually
we all
rejuvenating
get it.
yourself.
We get it. We get it. We get it.
Because feeling is physical. You know what I mean? So if you
Where's his mic button at? Where's mic button at? Where's mic button at?
Don't cut him off. Can't cut him off.
About to hit the button on him. Anyway, special education, man. Let's get into it, man.
Oh Lord.
For me, it was a glorious time because I had some great memories. But at the same time, I didn't spend, my duration personally wasn't, too long compared to others. But yet it was very intense and intriguing for the memories that I do have. So we're gonna get into special ed, and we're gonna get into, a more deeper aspect of special ed, not just people being in special education, but there's a lot more that went into that in the 80s with Black youth. But on that note, we're gonna do what we do. Blase, blase. And we are back on WBLS.
Classic. Chill out left me a while ago.
I had to throw that in there.
Yes, sir.
Special
Yeah,
education. Yeah. I'm gonna get to everybody's take on, certain aspects of it, but just to segue into the conversation. This was a topic that me and Dave discussed, as well as DCR discussed a while back. And I really was supposed to have done this show a while ago, but I'm really starting to lean towards, if I have a particular subject that I want to tackle, my panel has to be right before I actually go into it. Because I know certain panels bring a certain energy and it just kind of brings it all together like a gumbo and it sticks. So I'm not going to throw darts in the dark when it comes to certain topics. It just has to be right. And I'll sit it on the back burner until, the elements align, and then I'll go ahead and move forward. And I felt like this was the perfect conglomerate of individuals to move forward on this topic. So with that being said, back in the 80s, special education, me personally, and I had this conversation with my mom today, and she kind of shed a little bit of light on what was going on back then. But
to the closet. Go back to the closet.
I think it was a very fun time, but it was also a time mixed with a lot of confusion because a lot of Black parents back then didn't really know the system like that. So they kind of went along with what the school officials were telling them, far as what was the best course of action for the child at the time. And they just kind of went along with that. I know my mom, I can vividly remember, because keep in mind, second, third, fourth grade, I know me and Dave and our special ed adventures, we were not, there was nothing wrong with us. Keep in mind, let's make this distinction, because special ed of today, when you look at the children that are in special ed today, they distinctively, you kind of can tell something's wrong with them.
They're different.
Or they may be autistic, but there's definitely something that is not biologically correct. When you look at us in special ed back in the 80s, we were normal kids. There was nothing wrong with us. We just had a lot more energy. And I think the system at the time didn't know what to do with us. They wasn't going to slow down anything to deal with us. So we got labeled hyperactive. He's being disruptive. I can't teach him. He's always laughing. Dave's making beats on the desk. We laughing at the simplest shit. So we got labels. And with those labels, they had to figure out what to do with these kids. And then my mom, she hit me. The
child study team.
Yeah. She hit me today and she was like, those people were getting paid for each child they put in special ed. And I was like, for real? She was like, yeah. She said, I didn't know it at the time, but I found out about this years later. By then I was, done with all of that. But I'm just saying that there was an agenda that wasn't going to slow the system down for the Black child who had all the energy. They just was going to label you, put you somewhere. But then it got really bad for me and Dave, actually, because I remember at a time I had to take Ritalin for a short period of time. But you remember those times when we had to go down to the nurse's office every day at the same time with the little cups of water.
Little plastic cups of water. And each pill was a colored pill. So I'm always taking the green pill.
What's crazy? What's crazy is that like as a parent, I would be pissed the fuck off. Finding that out way later on. You especially your kids taking medicine that they don't need to be taking. However, kids now, I just learned this maybe 2 weeks ago from my niece that college kids and medical students and stuff, they're taking Ritalin and those type of things to focus more and kill their academics. Go. And I said, well, where the hell was this when I was in nursing school? Me knowing about it, because I sure would have took something just to get through, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the kids are taking them now, just to excel.
Taking them
do high level stuff, I guess.
Ritalin. So what is the properties of Ritalin? I thought it slows you down.
It slowed me down because I started.
Why the fuck you want to be slowed down if you're trying to learn? Well, I started with a whole pill. Not to overtalk Aunt Dre, but it would seem to make you drowsy or something. No, am I wrong?
Well, from my experience, I used to take a whole pill, and
oh shit,
my mom said that it made me sleep when I had a whole pill. I went from a whole pill to a half a pill, but I was taking a whole pill, and I remember taking it one day when I first got on it. I was sitting at my desk like a zombie. I was literally sitting there, and I couldn't move. I'm just My eyes are open and I'm looking around, but I cannot move. I was tranquilized.
I personally don't remember.
The plan was to subdue the overly active mind, the overly active kids, if you want to call it physical. But it could have been in the mind and physical.
It was both.
So they wanted to subdue you.
Well, I used to get the shakes a lot.
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
None of those pills.
You got the shakes from it?
I was nervous. Absolutely, I was nervous. And once my mother saw that, she's like, "Okay, he has to come. My son has to come off of this." Yeah. I was getting tics and everything.
What the hell is wrong with them people?
So that's what my mom said. She was like, "He's sleeping too much. Like it's hard to wake him up." So I'm not, and our parents eventually just, the school still had it going, but she wouldn't give it to me at home at all because she was like, I'm not having no problems with him at home. He's fine. He's a regular, normal kid. But they had to, I guess, feed that system. And see, at the time, a lot of black parents didn't know, they wasn't educated on that. This is a whole brand new program. But once inside special ed, and I kind of in my own weird way, I think if you took some of the fundamentals of special education and incorporated into a normal classroom, kids will learn more. That's just my opinion, because I think learning is very rigid to the point where kids get bored. I was never bored in special ed. Ever. Of course, it's colorful than the motherfucker, and there's shit all on the wall, and it's a little bouncy, and you got carpet in there. And that's the only place
it was kindergarten, man. It was grown ass motherfuckers in kindergarten. That's basically what
I knew he was gonna show up with a different perspective. How else could you put it?
Yeah, man.
I was in it because I daydreamed. I was a daydreamer. That's why I was backwards, because I was always in. I always was in my mind. I didn't, when I went to school, I didn't listen to. I didn't care what the teacher was talking about. I was daydreaming. I was somewhere fighting a war or something, doing something crazy.
So you shouldn't put that title on yourself. You was backwards.
No, I'm just
never backwards.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not.
I know where he's coming from with that.
I'm not saying backwards, but I just didn't care about I didn't pay attention in class. I basically was daydreaming. Like I was
a lot of freaking geniuses that do that.
It was boring.
They was geniuses in something else. They may not be academic geniuses. A lot of geniuses didn't pay attention.
Still don't to this day. I still do it to this day, Andre. I'm still the same dude to this day. I'm still inside my fantasy land in here, man. So they didn't change that for me. But to be honest with you, it actually makes me creative. You know what I mean? It's kind of a something that I should have never even tried to change anyway. You know what I mean? So
you're right.
I really believe it's like having. You got to tame some animals. You know how you have wolves, you have the ones you can tame and then the ones you can't tame. So the ones that you can't tame, you get rid of them. And the ones that are able to control and tame, those are the ones you keep. So I think it is more like that was more like what was going on. Like, well, I can't teach this kid. This kid is too hyper. Not saying the kid is dumb or anything, but the kid just won't follow my rule. So I have to put the kid in this special education, special needs, whatever they need to just really forget about them, be honest with you. But at the same time, I see it too. A lot of people that I was in there with are very successful and got their own businesses compared to kids that were in the so-called normal. You know what I mean? So, so it's definitely a lot of kids that got their own shit going on.
My bad, y'all. It's not Ritalin. It was it's Adderall. I just texted her on my other phone. It's Adderall that the kids are taking, like to kind of like heighten their, almost like the movie Limitless. That's how she explained it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to slow them down.
Adderall. I like to say what's up to April. She's in the chat.
April,
and she said giving kids Ritalin in school back then should have been illegal. And I think we were a part of an experiment that they were ushering in, and we were on the forefront to that, back in the 80s. I think
even though I never,
but yeah, that Ritalin, that whole Ritalin thing. Yep. But I think, if I had to sum it up, and I'm gonna ask everybody this question: how do you think, well, first of all, Dre, you dealt with special ed?
Yes, very much so.
What about you, Jay? Any interaction, family member, you, whatever?
Me, because of me. Mm-hmm.
So we're all acclimated to know, to some extent, what the deal is. So my question is, how do you think special education, whether it was long-term, short-term, affected your life as an adult, like later on? Did it have any effect later on? What, who want to go first?
I go first, but I would say not necessarily later on, but when I was in the situation, it wasn't a good time for me. I don't know. You said you had an awesome time. Maybe it was the school system. So I did go to Neptune for a time, and that was
where we met.
Experience. Yep. That was an awesome experience. A little bit more than Asbury. I got teased a lot and fucked up pushing to lockers in Asbury.
Damn.
And speaking on that, you wasn't smart enough in things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew they probably can get away with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't go through that in Neptune. So I think it was Ocean Grove School. I think I might have went to Ridge Avenue for a while. I remember Dave.
We were in Miss Neely's class.
Dave used to do the beats on his chest, and I remember Gus. Remember Gus?
Well,
I remember Gus.
You remember Gus?
All three of us, Dre. Me, you, and Dre. We all were in Miss Mealy's class. That's where I met you.
Okay. So I remember that
years ago. That's right.
Yeah. It was a while ago.
Y'all older than me, man, because I don't remember seeing y'all, man.
Well, we're gonna later. We're gonna get the Pot, because Pot got a little. We want to get into your story a little bit.
I went to college, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get into your story a little
bit.
They
sent me off to an island, dog.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Yeah, we're gonna get off into that. But Pot went to a whole different institution, a facility somewhere. But we'll get to that.
What you guys say is different levels of special ed?
Yeah, man. They came out with school programs, but we got
retarded people. I wasn't in the same class with them. People break crayons off in the ear and shit like that. I don't know if that's your experience. I never took medicine that I know of that I can remember. I can't remember.
Special forces. I was armed. I was around Special Marine Corps.
We're gonna get to that
specifically.
The teachers was even special, to be honest with you. But let's go ahead.
It's special when the teachers are special ed. But that's a whole. We'll get to that. But anybody else feel like it impacted their life later on in life?
I'll go, man. It for me, I've always had a love-hate relationship with special education. I always felt for a long time it had a stigma on me. Because I was in special education for 13 years, 1980 to 93, when we graduated from Neptune. So that experience in making us feel, first of all, like Dre said in the beginning, I personally never felt that I belonged there. But because, like Dre said, our parents didn't know any better, I guess they felt like putting us in these classes was the best way for us to overcome our situation. Right. But I always felt like, because of the stigma of being in special ed, because of the stigma of not feeling like you're learning as normally as your peers, it really affected me emotionally. But as of late, I discovered that because I've discovered my ability to be transcendent, I've looked at it in a different light. You know, I made the friendships that I made and the times that I had, but also we all are individuals. We know we're individuals. We know we're brilliant. We know we're gifted in our own in each special way, and that, to me, I credit special education for that discovery. You know, so I can appreciate my time in special education now more than ever. So I think it's all about making peace with the cards you dealt with and just moving on from that. So yeah, like it affected me emotionally, but I can honestly say I'm here today because of it, you know?
Yeah.
How did it affect you emotionally though? You didn't get beat up or nothing like that, right?
No, but emotionally, I felt like I was a dummy. Yeah. I felt like I was a weirdo. I felt like I was a dummy. You know, in high school, for instance, like I didn't go into a regular curriculum in elementary school till third grade. So third to sixth grade, well, sixth grade Ridge Avenue, Mr. Yonkers was kind of special ed-ish, I guess. But
that's the boy.
Yes. Yeah. In seventh and eighth grade, I had resource English, resource math. So I didn't really have too many special ed classes. But in high school, though, that they decided to put me all the way in special ed. And it took me away from my peers, you know. So I always felt like I was dumb because of that. Knowing that I had all these gifts and I had all these abilities.
But you knew it early on, though, that you had the gifts and the abilities?
I absolutely. Okay. It's a weird dynamic. But because you're in a system that you have no choice to be in, those psychological effects can fuck with you, basically, you know? So I would say psychologically, you know, I had to deal with the after effects of that. And but I can honestly say those it really I cannot be who I am today, you know, without
that experience.
So, exactly. Because I could look at myself now and I could look at who I was then. I said, well, you didn't belong in there. Me and my aunt talk about this all the time.
In hindsight, yeah.
In hindsight, you know, my aunt always told, you know, she told me this yesterday. I always told your mother you should have put him in private school. I was like, yeah, she should have. I just learned differently. I took in information differently, but that's no crime. You know, it's the same with pot.
That's usually how it is. Yeah, we receive
exactly.
It
right,
and that's why they separate. But you know what's so sad about it too?
Mm-hmm.
They made sure everybody knew where you were. That should have been a little kept like private. You know what I mean? It shouldn't let you know. You shouldn't make a child feel like he is like lower than all the other kids. You know what I mean? Like you know, it's just the whole lineup with the whole thing. Like it made you feel less than everybody. It just made like you know, like you said, it kind of messed with your self-esteem.
And in my first year at Ocean Grove, which was 1980, this is how sharp my mind is. I remember that, and like I said, my mind is sharp. That was an election year. You know, Ronald Reagan was running for president for the first time against Jimmy Carter, who was the president at that time.
Reaganomics.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So I remember Miss Amelie and Miss Martin, they brought the TV in because I guess they wanted us kids to watch. I guess it was a debate that they were having or whatever. But I couldn't stay because when I first started at the school, I had a half a day. The system determined that I wasn't strong enough to stay the whole day, so I had to leave. So
damn.
Yeah, exactly. So making you feel like you can't even stay a whole day. You know what I'm saying? It's situations.
Hey,
like
yo.
What you mean, Dave? What you mean you didn't stay a whole day? You didn't go to vocational school?
Well, no, they thought they felt I was too hyperactive to stay a whole day in school, so I would go home.
Treating like a kid.
Was you taking medicine at the time?
That was
I was.
Yeah, that was part of the MO. Like you see kids come into school with everybody else, but then they disappear. Yeah, that was special ed activities. That was like some secret FBI shit. You with everybody at the beginning of the day, and then this nigga just disappear. Exactly. You in the boardroom. You at the bottom of the school somewhere in a little room with some teacher that looked weird, playing Chutes and Ladders and Candyland, and you don't even know why you with everybody else.
Right. We were in the back. You know, the regular kids, the so-called regular normal kids, their classes were in the back. We were separated. The same thing in high school. Our resource classes were towards the entrance, towards the exit. You know, it's that mode of separation.
Right.
And it fucked with me, man.
Those made you feel like you never was going to be successful, for sure. It just made you feel like you was always going to be guided or end up like some of the people that you see that have mental, like, dang, I'm not able to work. Am I ever going to be able to get my license? Yo, I was scared. I was never going to be able to drive. I thought I was too stupid to drive. Like, damn, I'm not smart enough to do shit. I ain't going to never be able to drive either.
I was a little worried about you. I was a little worried about you too, I ain't going to front.
But here's the flex. Anytime I go back home to Neptune, I always see some of our classmates on the Ave hallucinating, looking out in space, and we're not like that. So our lives took a whole Our lives took a whole different avenue. So I'm blessed beyond measure that
we was put under stress already. We was already stressed out from the beginning. We was already dealing with life obstacles. Being in those classes, like you said, we felt crippled to the world. Like we was always gonna need somebody to hold our hand and do this and that.
And on top of that, we were also impressionable little kids.
Yeah, you can imprint the mind.
Exactly.
Put an imprint on the mind. So I want to ask all of y'all on the panel, did y'all have like positive figures in your life?
Bruce Lee.
To rebuttal what you was going through?
But I have Bruce Lee. Mind, there's two sides to everything. So if you look at one aspect of special ed, it can be very debilitating and down. But special ed had an aspect to it that also made going to school fun. Some of the aspects that I enjoyed about special ed was the fact that whenever you had a birthday, they would have a birthday party.
Yeah,
it was personal.
You'll get the bullshit ass birthday hat that they make in school, and everybody would sit around. It was maybe like 4 or 5 of y'all motherfuckers in the whole class, and y'all would have a party. It was always colorful. There was no real structure to the situation, so you can be free a little bit. And I enjoyed that based on how I was learning at the time. Sitting in a classroom like a robot. And to be honest with you, I heard an elder tell me this years ago. He was like, really, there's a certain amount of years that a child shouldn't even be in a classroom. They should be out in nature, learning about true light perception, learning about true colors and true texture. They should be learning from the environment, not from book up into, from book information up to bro. And just learning like that. They shouldn't be learning like that. They should be more interactive with their environment. And this is how they learn early on. So when you take a child and you try to put them in this very robotic type of system of learning, especially Black kids, you're going to have dysfunction because it's not that we're dumb or stupid. We just can't conform to this MO, this method of operation of learning. So they didn't know what to do with us.
What it is, Dre.
Huh?
The European way of shit.
Well, yeah. The European way of teaching.
Euro
Keep in mind, as people of color, back in the day, they took us out into the learning environment. There were no books. So we were able to adapt and adjust better through interacting with our environment. And that's in our DNA. That's why they teach Black kids math wrong in school. That's why most black kids don't like math, because it's taught to them wrong. But anyway, I digress on that. But what was the best part of special ed? If you had to pick something, what would be the best parts of special ed that you did enjoy?
Playing kickball.
I was in Marine Corps, so I like you said, you say mine for later, man.
We got a whole section for you, Pot. We got a whole section.
Yeah, man. I was in special forces, man. My shit was special forces, dog.
He probably should have been a Marine. His mentality is Marine.
Yep. He's being funny. It's not military, but
I know he's joking, but
very different.
His personality should have been Marine. He should have won the Marine as a young person and got his accolades off of that. That's just what I'm saying. That's what I'm hearing.
He would have went AWOL. He would have went AWOL.
I don't think so. Because of control.
He would have went AWOL.
He might have enjoyed it though. It could go either way. Somebody with his personality, Libra.
His personality, but at the same time, like
he's a Libra though. He can go either way.
And how to.
I'm a Libra too, so that's what we do.
I don't think that would fly too well.
Well, that's one thing. I don't take orders very well. I don't take orders very well, so that probably would have definitely been short. I don't take orders real well, so like even if I would have got to a certain
I would have said
they kind of would have forced you to do it,
and that would have been wrong for his personality.
You would have conformed. You probably would have conformed and been the best soldier.
Nah, Pot wouldn't. I don't think he's. I don't think he's a conformer.
I probably would.
So back to the question. Who what was if you had to pick a part of special ed, what was the best part that you enjoyed the most?
You gonna ask these individual like you did before?
Individual question. You can go
first. I want to say something.
Go ahead.
I didn't even answer the first question, so I'm gonna do that all together.
Cool.
I was in special ed. Well, I guess it would be special ed, yeah. But I think for me, it was more like I knew I didn't belong there. And I think it was more like a rebellious type of thing. It was middle school, but it was more being rebellious against my parents because I gave my story about going to middle school and then everything that I was learning, things that I had no idea about. Like racism and all of that stuff and, those type of things. And then once I got, I would go home and my mom would hear me saying like IB and blah, blah, blah. Like my whole vocabulary was a little different. So, it was like, kind of like, oh, you're being stupid. You want to be like one of those dumb kids and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, they want dumb. And the dropping grades also was pretty much because, I would get picked on, like, the teacher announcing that type of stuff or whatever. But the class was so, I knew I didn't belong there, but it was so much fun being in the class.
It was fun. Yeah.
It was so much fun being in the class. Like,
and I think that's what. Yeah,
you make the best of it.
I think some of that needs to be incorporated into regular classroom structure, but I think teachers will have more success if the classroom was more interactive and a little bit more comfortable. When it's too rigid, kids have a hard time adjusting to that shit and learning. It's boring.
Yeah,
it's very boring. That's why schools. This is why we enjoyed People Place so much. You remember People Place?
You can break that down with Dre saying. You can break what Dre saying down with individuals, situations, races. You can break that down because it ain't for everybody. So what you're saying, what you just said, how you broke down the class, like put that. White people love the intellectual. We, what I'm saying, the intellectual or whatever. We might be up on somebody and make a white person uncomfortable. Because we like to hear stories. We like to hear, saying like how you talk to us or something. So white people might not feel that way. You know what I'm saying? It's just so different. So you just talking about black people?
No, I'm talking about in general. And take for instance, when you go to college, if you look at any college setting, you got a professor, and then you have a an auditorium-like setting for your students, right? And that setting is very relaxed. It's not as structured, and kids are allowed to engage the teacher as well as the other students freely. And they learn better because they're able to speak their mind. If you ever look at a college setting, classrooms today are not like that. You only get to that level when you go to college. You're a little bit more freer. And kids, white or black, Hispanic, whatever, they learn more in those settings because they can be free in their minds and express themselves. And the person who referees all of that is the instructor, as well as teaching the class. So it works.
Okay. Oh, what's your evidence that it works? You have evidence?
One of the highest areas of education is college in the United States.
Yes.
That's the proof.
True. This is true.
That's the proof. You going to college when you get out of school, huh? You going to college? That is the prize. So it has to work if that's what your goal is to get to.
But my rebuttal is what you feel about the military. They're not intelligent?
Well, I wouldn't put the military into that. That's the controlled environment. You think and you act and you do everything based on that program.
It's not controlled?
Well, we're not saying
the curriculum is not controlled.
We're not talking about the curriculum. We're talking about the way you learn. How you're able to learn.
Individualism, though.
Yeah, that's college. You're able to be free.
If you're an individual, it's different for everybody. So college is
what?
They don't have no borders. They don't have no.
No, they don't.
Okay.
No, college don't have borders.
That's all I want to hear.
They don't. I mean, if you've ever been in that environment,
it's totally free.
It's free.
Okay.
It's free.
I never free been, here, bro. So I can't talk about it. So I never been, so I can't give an opinion.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. If you go to college, you're able to speak your mind. Whether people would agree with you or not is irrelevant, but you will be able to speak your mind.
Okay.
So if you don't like, what somebody's ideology is, you can stand firm on that. And the professor may give you the platform to debate your point as a learning tool. Because everybody's not going to agree with you.
Yeah. You don't have to agree, but as long as
there's a learning lesson in all of that. And I think, and this is where the special ed comes in. When you looked at special ed, we learned in there, but at the same time, the environment was so free. You were able to learn at your pace and your comfort. You didn't feel pressured.
Right.
And I think a little bit of that incorporated in a traditional style teaching environment can go a long way. Anybody disagree?
It can, but at the same time, when things moving at your own, like you said, at your own pace, the world don't care about you, though. That's the difference. The world don't care about your pace. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't get on board fast enough, then you out. You know what I mean? So that's where it affected us the most to me, because we were used to people catering to us instead of us, just getting aboard and doing a do. You know what I mean? So that was the problem. And to me, special ed that was the biggest problem, because like you said, you was a small group. You express yourself differently in a small group. They was like damn near your family, to be honest with you, because you see the same people every day. So you're comfortable around them. And plus the teachers, they got time to work on one problem with you for the damn whole semester. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I will say, but when you go in the real world, nobody cares. If you can't keep up, you just gotta get you out.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it an issue for most of us that got out of it, or some people even stayed in that mindset and never evolved. You know what I mean? Then you got some who did evolve, but evolved in their own creative way. Because there is mine was there. See, I keep talking about my situation where I went. It was a little different, but
that's the platform. You should do that.
So, but that's what it is. Like you take a kid that's used to being catered to and guided all the time, and then you let them out to the lions.
Ate up or swim.
Yeah, and the others, that's how they were. That's how they was learning straight up like that. They had to think on their own too. Like they had to be quick on it. Like when they in it's a lot of people in their class. Ain't nobody there to cater to them and everything. So that made them even more, that kind of gave them an edge too, because they can deal with an environment and they got a lot of people around them and they can, do their thing. They ain't used to being in like the whole environment catering to them. So I think it could cripple you. It's like good and bad things. And, you'll find a downside to everything. You don't learn enough in a big environment, or you get enough, attention. It's all kinds of shit, but it's levels to everything. You just got to.
Yeah. Levels. I like that you said that.
Yeah. It has two sides. It definitely has two sides and some pros and cons. Most definitely. I think one of the things that I enjoyed about not just being in special ed, but seeing other special ed classes, and this is just on some funny shit, because whenever I would see other special ed classes, they were like, you know how when you walk down the hallway and typically your standard class is in a straight line in the hall, they're going somewhere and they're kind of like, they're uniform,
like you crippled.
The special ed kids will be dysfunctional like a motherfucker. They moving all around. Teacher got one by the hand. They laughing and smiling and shit. It just looked like a circus. But the weirdest shit.
More deep. Tell them about me and you at Mount Pisgah. You always tell the story.
Well, Andre fitted that stereotype because he would be the one that the teacher be holding their hand and shit. Yeah, it's like one, if you don't hold their hand, they'll get away. So that's the one you gotta hold their hand. Andre was that kid. Yeah, wow.
We was in preschool. Was it preschool?
It was preschool.
Okay.
It was preschool. But one of the weirdest shits, man, is the special ed kids were like, to me, back then, everybody had their own personality, and they were like a character. In the weirdest way, they were like superheroes.
Saying that's so funny.
Dysfunctional superheroes, and everybody had a character.
Yep. And we were all connected.
Wasn't really dysfunctional?
But you know what? But the thing about
it seemed like you're going with the narrative.
It looked dysfunctional.
That the people that we're talking about that gave us those titles, it seemed like when you say that, you agree with the narrative.
No,
we should have our own narrative.
That's my narrative. My narrative we were fucking superheroes. That's
superheroes is nice. Okay,
we were superheroes.
That's not really negative.
X-Men. Okay. You mean X-Men?
Yeah,
I would say that too.
More
special powers, special needs, special powers.
So I've never been in a class with 5 people. I was in special ed forever.
So how many people were in your class?
It was a lot of people in the class.
Oh, yeah, it was
a lot of dumb niggas in Asbury, right?
I was in.
A lot of dumb people. Yeah, I never been in 5 people. I don't know what that means. Like 5 people? Never 5 people.
Yeah, we had big class.
I was in special Harvard, motherfucker. I went to Harvard. They sent me to Harvard.
Go on, Asbury. Maybe King. Asbury. Too many dumb people. That's what you say.
I was in Harvard, and they sent me to somewhere out in the mountains somewhere, dog. They sent me far from everybody. But you know what I liked about that? I didn't have to look at the other. Like you said, when you got special ed classes in the regular classes, you was always feeling a certain kind of way. But when you go to a school that's just completely special, dog.
Yeah.
Different vibration.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of people in my class. It was never 5 people.
Yeah, there was a lot in mine. And I remember, I think there was one point where they told me that I wouldn't go to high school or something like that. And I went to the counselor. I remember going to the counselor, and I straightened the hell up because it was more like a rebellious thing for me because I went from private school, like doing so well. And then they put me in public school. You know what I mean? And
she was doing so well. That's why. they was fucking intimidated.
No. It wasn't even them. I was like literally trying not to be a problem in the school. So I was like dropping grades, and I just kind of dropped to where just being an asshole to my parents. And yeah.
So you was rebellious.
I was, that was my way of like rebelling, I guess. I don't know. But all I know is for the little bit of time that I was in there, that class was fantastic. It was fun. I just remember
I should have went to Neptune a little bit longer because my shit wasn't fantastic.
Yeah, Neptune special ed was off the meter. And you're a testament,
very unique.
Jay, you're a testament to what I said in the beginning. You can go to special ed for the most uncommon shit of today. You know, the fact that you just was rebelling. Oh, she's special. Let's put her in here.
I promise you. And it all came from me getting, like, I remember the teachers would announce, like, oh, the only person that got an A in here was, and they'd say my name, and everybody, I could hear them talking shit and stuff. So I just started dropping grades. And then when I learned about racism and all these other things, and I'm like, and then going home, my parents giving me hell about how I'm talking different and how stupid I sound. And so I'd be like, okay, you want stupid? I got stupid for you. And
yeah. But somebody from the chat, Tiffany, beautiful me. Moving at your own pace is not always the best thing because you have to be able to keep up with the world around you. And that coincides with what DCR was saying. Even though special ed moved at your pace, it can be also at your detriment once you get out to the real world. The world ain't gonna move at your pace.
The real world is not like that. The real world
sink or swim.
Up with everybody.
And also when you get to a regular class setting after being in special ed for a certain amount of time, you're like, well, I didn't learn this in resource.
I went to like a mini, I think it was a college school, so I forgot. Later down the road, after high school and all that, after I graduated. When I got in a regular setting, I dropped out. I did 2 weeks. I couldn't keep up, dog.
It was like reading hieroglyphic. Real talk.
I was still on chapter 1, man. Them niggas were on chapter 8.
Well, I can do certain things.
You can say I'll pass you.
I was always able to read, so math may not be my upcoming, but I was always able to read. So maybe
you know what I remember. This is a little off topic. Dre, forgive me.
Go ahead.
Morty, forgive me. But in high school, the teacher was Mr. What the heck was his name? Mr. Penchuck? I forgot his name. But I remember we were doing algebra, and this is the only teacher. He had a wife in the school. I forgot their name. Penchuck or some, I don't remember. The only teacher I ever heard, and we used to all be looking at each other like, I know he ain't just say that. He was calling us stupid and dumb and all kind of, like, I ain't never seen nothing. And looking back, hindsight, of course, he must have been like racist or something because the whole class, like,
You had plenty of them.
We had a lot of those in that.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just like, what are you guys, idiots? What are you, stupid? And like just all kind of, but looking back, definitely was
that
wasn't a smoke glass.
Right.
We should have kidnapped him, took him down and put him in the ocean. Talking to kids like that because they never go to white kids. Well, white kids have problems too.
Right.
They're not perfect.
White kids in those classes too.
Yeah.
Well, I can honestly say, in high school, my special ed experience, with the exception of Miss Dorfman,
I love Miss Dorfman.
Yeah, me too. But the teachers who molded me, the resource teachers that molded me in high school, were all black women. All black women who's always
Miss Dean. You remember Dean?
Miss Dean, Mrs. Harris. There was another one, but the name escapes me. But they were all black women who were nurturers. I can even say Siswi's mom, but I don't know if she was a special ed teacher.
Miss Butler.
Miss Dean was my favorite though. She was like the moms to me, and you know, like she really like could have like time.
Yes.
Miss Dean be like really young.
That's right. So I was pretty much nurtured during my high school years, and you know, I didn't have that experience, Jay. No.
Was bugged out.
Sorry, you went through that.
I didn't even know they. Forgive me, Dave. Forgive me.
Go ahead.
I didn't know they had special ed in high school.
They did. My senior year, I had all resource classes because my junior year was the only year that I didn't have any resource, and I guess I failed junior year. But if I hadn't gone to summer school, I would have came out in 94. At that time, I think you needed 60. Yeah, I had 65 credits, but you needed an extra 15 to become a senior. You needed 80 credits to become a senior. So my guidance counselor had the wisdom to put me in all resource classes for senior year. So I actually felt like I was rushed out of high school.
Oh, I'm about to tell you that. Me too. I was about to say that. It seemed like they be rushing you out there.
I was rushed out of high school.
So, Mr. Pugh, what do you mean by resource classes? What you mean by that? Education.
Special ed.
It's like they give you.
They had different names for it.
Right.
Just for attending, right?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Just for attending those classes, you got the points instead of. I think just being in the program gave you the points to graduate. It was not that you were smarter. I think it was really just because you got in the program and they gave you the extra credit.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's what they call it.
I feel the same, but we didn't have the titles like y'all had. Y'all was more structured.
Yeah, the only special ed class I didn't have was gym.
Yep. I got pushed through too. I graduated in 91. So
wow. You see that? Like that does a lot to a young individual psyche. It really does.
I agree. I thought I wasn't adequate even earlier on. Like I was talking to like a Monmouth college person, and she said most people that come in here, Andre, they'll know their situation. And so that, you know, I knew I couldn't go to Monmouth College when I was like a junior or senior. I just went through, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to be better. But they struck my confidence.
That's right.
And then I ain't had nobody else because Mama was agreeing because she didn't understand.
Yeah,
she wants you to
drop out from Neptune.
She just wants to
she dropped out. Yes. Yep. And so I felt I didn't think I was gonna grow. I already knew I was gonna grow up, but I thought when I grew up I wasn't gonna be adequate.
That's right.
In life, I
spent many years feeling like that.
In all aspects,
parents make decisions on you.
Wait a minute, Pot. Let him finish. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I thought he finished. Go ahead.
Things got a little bit better, but it ain't where it should be now. But it's better than I thought it would be. So it's a good.
That's because you transcended.
Huh?
That's because you transcended. You transcended above the negative psychological effect. You transcended. You know what I mean? We all transcended. So we can look at that aspect with a smile on our face, and we can look at it with pride because those things took us to where we are now.
So Dave, hear the difference. Sir. Hear the difference. Okay. When you say and the young lady JV, y'all said y'all already knew y'all shouldn't have been there. They broke me down. I thought I should be there.
But you know what? I could kind of relate to that because, like, in the sense of after a while of hearing like that you're stupid or you're an idiot or you know those things, like it starts to imprint. Like you start to feel like, even though like going through high school, like I hear, but like Pot had made comments before that I was like so insecure. Maybe I didn't come off as that like to other people, but I was like really, really insecure, like in high school, middle school, just you know. And I did hear people saying like, "Oh, you in a slow class or whatever," but I knew I didn't belong there. Like to me,
right.
Like I couldn't beat the fuck out of my parents. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't curse at them. Like that was my thing of like kind of like, okay, you know, you think I'm stupid? Okay, I'm gonna give you stupid. Like in the household, it was always like grades, you know. A students or B students, or it was always like grades.
I felt it was my title.
For all y'all. I got one for all y'all.
It wasn't your title, and David knew it wasn't his title. I don't know about Potty. I
got one for all y'all. I got one for all y'all.
But like JV said, when you are so inflicted with the imprint of feeling like you're dumb because you're in that classes, you get broken down. But for me, at the same time, there was a side of me that said, "This is not you." But it took a long time for that side to come out, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know, like, there were times when, like, my mother or my stepfather would say, like, you know, you're stupid and all of that, and I would be whispering or mumbling to myself, like, I'm not stupid, like, you know, just kind of, you know, but you can't talk back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't say it to them, like, I ain't stupid, like. You know, but I was
like crying for a parent to say
like
I'm
your rebuttal.
Like I'm not stupid.
So you was going against it. Okay.
I got a question.
My mother never said I was
You just
stupid,
know, like I don't know how to explain it. But she
agreed with her acceptance of what they were saying, but she never totally said I was stupid, but she still agreed. And so I went through.
Yeah, it imprints on you after hearing it so much.
That's if your parents say your parent will kill you. Your parents
exactly, especially your parents.
They don't have the knowledge.
If anybody outside of your parents says to you like you're stupid, you're gonna take that like, okay, my parents think I'm stupid, and now this stranger thinks I'm stupid, so I must really be stupid. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it embeds.
I got one for you.
You know,
what's the most exposure from being in special ed at school? Y'all all experienced it. When being in special ed, there's a certain times during the month or whatever that you were really exposed. Your class was exposed to the outside.
Oh shit! School. Anytime they had the school gather in auditorium or
the fire alarm. The fire alarm.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for real. The most embarrassing
fire drill.
The fire drill.
Everybody be outside, but y'all. And I'm gonna tell you, the only thing that changed my trajectory when I was in special ed is when I went down south, and I stayed for a year, and that kind of shifted me out of that whole special ed thing into a regular classroom situation. So by the time I came back to Jersey, I was just, a regular nigga at that point. So all the special ed shit was gone, and I got into the normal cycle of school. But fire drills, when everybody came out, it was a lot of dysfunction. So when you take the special ed class, and the reason why I can concur with what you just said, because at B Park, and you was in special ed at B Park, I wasn't in special ed at B Park at this point. This is talking like 5th grade. I was in Miss King's class. And, so everything was normal at that point. But I remember fire drills when pot class came outside, because we all had to go outside. You talking about a classroom that's already dysfunctional, but now you outside and you're really dysfunctional. He gotta gather them all up before we can go back in the classroom because they all over the fucking place like little kids and shit. It's weird, but funny. Because
you got a little bit of. It's like, but your class is like this small, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you coming out there, it's like four or five of y'all, and it's like the other classes got like loads of
10, 11, 12 kids, and it's like 4 or 5 of y'all motherfuckers. Like, what class is that?
I hated that. I used to try to hide. That's my shit, man. I hated hiding from that, man. I used to always be hiding under special ed shit.
Because you didn't want people to know that
still see me.
You didn't want to be seen with your crew because that was your crew.
Right.
And you don't want to be seen with your crew in front of the whole school. Like that's your class.
And you know what I heard the most? You didn't want to see the dudes wasn't the problem. It was the girls you didn't want to see. It's the girls as a man, like just having, just being a young man, whatever. you didn't want a female that you probably was attracted to, whatever, to see.
I was about to say that.
And that type of manner, like, oh, she think I'm retarded. She don't even care. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you have emotions there. Yeah. So
you know what's so crazy?
So you really, that's what you really navigating around, dog. Who cares about the
so
dude?
Crazy about that. I
said, really don't. She gonna think of it.
I don't think.
That's funny.
But it's true.
That's true.
Because you all had crushes, right? I know we all had crushes.
Everybody had those. Yeah,
hell yeah.
So it's like you always want to like your crush to see you in a position where you wasn't with the crew. If the crew was there.
Oh shit! That's when y'all was dressing like an old rock band. One cat wearing a janitor uniform, one ran a trench coat. Shit was crazy. Everybody had costumes, man.
What you mean by that, though, Dre?
Pop used to wear. Okay, imagine a 4th grade class. They come out, right? One student has a janitor outfit on. One student has Herschel. One. Then you got another student who got like a trench coat and he got a briefcase. Like everybody had, they was characters. They was characters.
Yep. I forgot who was then you had kid with the briefcase and the trench coat.
And what's the dude that had the tooth in his ear? What was his name? Roy.
That was Roy. What about I think Lawrence Justice was in there too. You remember Lawrence Justice?
Yep. LJ. Yep. He sure was.
You remember LJ? Yep. You remember LJ? He played basketball. Ain't tall dude? Tall.
Wow.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Lawrence Justice was in
Gus.
But
Gus was a character too.
Yep.
Yeah, Gus was a liar. He lied a lot.
Yep.
That's my experience. It may not be your experience.
Now, Gus was the only person I knew who was in special ed in high school. That's the only person that I knew was because he would come to school with everybody, but he would just disappear. You know, when a nigga disappear, they had some special shit because you don't see him all day until lunch.
I didn't know that until this show.
He passed
when
away.
a nigga disappears,
I remember saying, I didn't know that.
I wasn't with Gus then.
I was saying something. I don't think I was affected by who saw me or who didn't see me or what people were saying because I knew that I didn't belong there, if that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you was
like, you in a slow class, like, and it was
okay. Yeah, but you were
girls didn't have that problem. Girls didn't have that problem.
Exactly.
Girls never had an issue like you could have been with the most. I mean, they can separate your head, your arms, and everything. Niggas still would have not. You know what I mean? Niggas still been on that. You know what I mean? So
true. That's true.
I think you kind of got through it, like, you know what I mean?
Black males.
Yeah, you know, you was the.
Don't mean I'm right. Don't mean I'm right.
I'm not trying to say anything bad, but I just know a girl presence is just so much different than a man that.
I get it. I totally get it.
It's just that though. It's hard for me. I ain't gonna lie, man. Being a man, it's hard being a man though. Any little
I say that in regards to my sons and just black men. Period. Like I always say, it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So if you missing an arm, you no longer a man. Yeah, it's all kinds of shit.
You're right. So the special ed thing for a man is way different, you know, with the females. And I knew some females in special ed. I
remember them. I know all of them. I know all of them.
I didn't look at them different. You primarily would see them at lunch. You didn't you didn't see them other than that. But they was just regular, like, you know. But for dudes, like back then, we had a lot of programs where there was dudes who would be in school for the first part of the day, and then they would get on a bus and go somewhere.
Right.
You know, they had vocational school and stuff like that. It was a whole bunch of different programs. But let's get into DCR's adult special ed saga. He went to a whole special ed school, so this is a whole different scenario and experience. You know, you want to enlighten us on. Now, I would say this. The only peak that I had into his special ed life as we became older was the fact that he got on this little bus early in the morning before anybody would get the fuck up, and it was always folklore about catching him getting on that bus because it came super fucking early where you was still asleep. Everybody was fucking asleep when this nigga was going to school. And I think Aaron was the only person that caught this nigga getting on that bus one day. And Aaron was like, "Pop, what's up?" And he was like, "Fuck you." All because he got seen.
Folklore, nobody never seen him.
Because nobody never seen him. It was like, damn, did you see the werewolf? Nah, man, that shit ain't true. So this nigga used to catch a mysterious bus. And I used to always say that shit was in the mountains. This nigga used to take a bus to the mountains.
I wanted to kill him that day, dog. Aaron was like, yo, dog, I wanted to kill that dude that day, man. I see him from a distance, like, yo, he spotted me, and then he gonna call me out. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna kill that
all because a dude saw you getting on a bus. It was over. It was over.
He out of pot.
Yeah, he was just saying,
"What's up?" I loved it though, because this is what I learned. You know what I mean? That school, it was a great school, but everybody seemed like they was in special ed. Not just the students, the teachers, the janitor. Everybody was like special. The principal, everybody. You know, it was so bad in that. It was.
What town was that?
Hey, how your principal special ed?
DCR. What town? What town y'all went to?
Oh shit! He said everybody was special ed.
Man, I'm gonna tell you how dope it was to go to this school, though. I'm gonna start off with all the little luxuries. In the mornings when we get to school, we got the lunchroom full of bagels with all the cream cheeses we want, all the everything bagels, everything.
That's my shit at work right now. I get different flavors.
Yo, I used to eat like 4, and I used to take some home. I used to get the egg one, the everything one, all loaded with cream cheese, dog.
That's special ed shit. That's special ed shit. Regular kids ain't getting it.
There was a special day for every certain day. There was something, but I forgot what day. Fridays, the principal will order Chinese food, dog.
Oh my god.
Yo, they order a shitload of Chinese food. Food just feed the whole school, dog. Chinese food. Yo, vice principal getting chased to his room, locked himself in a room. Niggas banging on this.
Damn.
Teachers, we were crazy, dog. I even locked a kid in a shed in the back of the school and left him in there. Dog, the whole day for the morning. He found some shit.
You didn't help.
Yo, what school is this?
DCR, you didn't help your cause.
What was the name of your school, man?
It was called. It was actually called Kiva.
Where was it at though?
It was by Mama's Regional. It was right across from Mama's Regional. They turned a trade school into a special needs school. So, but here's the thing. I learned how to be a mechanic. I learned how to build a house. I learned how to be an electrician. All the stuff. We took real tests for electrician. All that kind of stuff. I learned all that stuff in that school. I learned everything in that school, man. So it's like they did teach us a lot of shit, man. And I got my license in that school too, my driver's license. So it's like got everything. They had it all done there, dog. Everything was set for us. Wow. And damn, the gym teacher got his mouth rewired and shit.
He got knocked out?
They had to put wire in his mouth. He said something to one of the students and got his shit separated. Oh, damn, one of the fucking the guy in carpentry, he almost took a kid head off with a hammer. Yo, it's just all kinds of stuff going on there, man. Like, motherfuckers throwing hammers and all kinds of shit.
That's
some motherfuckers, some motherfuckers in there that was retarded.
But this fits your MO though. No structure, but at the same time, that environment you had keep in mind when you have environments like this, you gotta have a certain type of faculty that's not quite there to go in and even deal with these kids. Yeah, you gotta have a weird, you know, you gotta be off yourself to go deal with kids that are off.
The female teachers would get sexually harassed. Some of them had the heart to take it, and some of them couldn't handle the overwhelming stress by, you know, certain students calling them whores and saying they're doing this and, you know, all kinds of stuff, man. Like, they had to deal with that all day, man. Then one woman was like real sick, and she went to the hospital, and they wanted us to write her a letter, you know, all the students. You don't even want to know what these cats wrote her, dog. She didn't want to come back to the school, man.
That shit crazy.
Yo, so it was so sad, dog. Like, all the stuff that was going on, man. Like, whew, I can't even tell you half the stuff that went on in that school, dog. I mean, cats getting body slammed and all kinds of shit. Like, you know, fuck out of here. Everything, dog. Everything, man. I mean, everything went on there, man. But we built a house inside of that mug. That was dope. Built a fucking straight up house inside of the big ass auditorium they had. We built a house in that shit, wired it out and everything. But it was some crazy dudes up in there. We had one dude thought he was a masonry, thought he was from the Marines and shit. He couldn't wait to go in the Marines and shit. Yeah, all kind of, like, he was crazy too. Like, you know, everybody had, like he said, we had these personalities. Yeah, Rambo and that motherfucker. Yeah, me, Bruce Lee. Yeah, everything in there.
What the letter? What the letters say?
Yeah.
What the letter say?
Give us an example of one letter. Can you remember?
What letter? What you mean?
The letters when you said the cat sent to the sick woman, the sick teacher.
I really can't remember, but I know it's something like.
Did you write one?
Said her breast smell like SHT and all kinds of stuff like that, man. You know,
just ignorant,
like
man.
That, you know? Yeah, but she was on a stepbed, dog.
Cancer. Why would they even send that shit? Like,
right.
I don't know, but then, like, you know, she was very heartbroken when, you know, because, you know, they came to class and said, yo, you know what y'all did. You know? I wasn't never a bad student, so I was always a, you know, good guy. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying.
We know what y'all did.
So it was crazy. Then we had one class that we used to gun on. You know, people couldn't take the gun, and you know how we gun on each other.
Yeah.
We used to gun on each other so much, though. You couldn't look funny in class because you had me, Chuck. You had me, Chuck. I mean, there's a couple of cats from Neptune, whatever. So when we got together, you couldn't have us in a class with a bunch of goofies like because we'll sit there and just roast the motherfuckers the whole. Got suspended
from our area, you know. Like, if you get mad or you try to go against, I don't care if you're special ed or you regular. Like, if you gunning it and you show some emotion, them niggas ain't gonna stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're gonna probably force you to fight. And there's certain motherfuckers in the crowd that want to fight. They hit you in the head with a train track rock.
Man, we used to roast these cats to the point they want to come back to class, dog. So they had to separate us. They had to put all of us in different classes because they couldn't have us that group together. Because we would just roast the hell out of everybody, dog. We just had fun roasting.
Wow.
Kids couldn't have that shit,
so I never knew the name of the school was Kiva.
I mean, if you look it up, I don't know. I actually got a
sound like some Jewish shit.
Finally, I actually got the yearbook here somewhere. I actually got the yearbook, dog. I cut it out because I cut my eyebrows. I didn't have eyebrows.
Kiva is now a vocational school. I don't even think they still have vocational schools.
Yeah. It used to be. Actually, it's a better school now. I'm pretty sure it's better. It was like an experiment. We were kind of like an experiment.
Well, those schools are in existence like a little bit longer ago, funny. But here in Atlanta,
they need to bring those back. Type of schools. They really need to bring those back. They need to bring vocational schools back hard.
Time of night.
They got rid of vocational schools?
They really don't have them like that. Yeah. They're needed right now.
They're trying to get an advantage on people. Because motherfuckers going to certain people that got a different mind, like they see shit different. So they go in there and they'll go and soak it up. Some people may not.
That was the best school ever. Go ahead.
Everybody,
Somebody said from the chat, let me see what this is. I don't remember special ed in elementary school. I remember my teacher breaking us up depending on our particular levels. And by the end of the year, most of us were at the same level. That's when they let teachers teach without all that other shit.
What's his name? He must have went to school in California.
Now, I don't know who that was, but most likely it's because there's no name by it, but somebody in the chat, and I appreciate their comment, which is cool.
Probably know us.
Of course, it's somebody that we know. I just didn't see the name by it. April said there is a big vocational school in Freehold called Monmouth County Vocational School.
Yeah, I went there, but I was silly as fuck. I ain't benefit off what they was trying to teach me.
Oh, me either. I didn't benefit off that neither. I had to teach myself
mechanics. Yeah, I was kind of good in culinary, but the teacher used to get mad at me because I was silly as fuck. That was my whole life, and even in how I got in special ed, and I didn't benefit off what they was trying to teach me. So that's not a good thing to admit, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I went there.
Savannah, Georgia. Who said that? I don't know who that is.
He used to get mad at me like, "You too goddamn smart." I used to pass the test. And so, but I was getting in trouble and shit. I didn't understand what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Not really an excuse, but it is what it is.
So I think the whole thing about special ed, and we'll bring this back around. Special ed has impacted people's lives for the good, for the bad, and we had some good experiences and some experiences that kind of affected us later down the road. I do appreciate my special ed experiences and the friends that I made, and like I said, most of the friends that I had in special ed, I still got them same friends today. Yep. Because I think the bond of special ed has a tendency of making you bond closer than a traditional classroom. I can't explain how, but you bond closer in special ed because it's like home away from home. I don't know if that makes sense, but you bond closer. And like I said, most of the people that I've bonded with in special ed, we're still friends to this very day. I think, and I don't fault my mom for some of the decisions that she made back then.
Because they scared your moms. Yeah. You know what I mean? They scared them, said you wouldn't pass if you didn't go. That's the reason why they agreed to it anyway. Because they
of course,
it's going probably to more than one reason.
Was always an agenda.
Knowledge to understand.
That's what I was told. You know what I mean? Like she was like, well, you're not gonna pass if you don't go to if you don't do the special ed thing. Like you need to do the special ed because
they wasn't educated the hell out of it.
They wasn't educated back then.
Yeah,
they felt that educated people was telling them how to navigate your child's life.
Yeah,
you have some rebellious parents that would go against them and say, hell no. Nah. At the house, he don't act like that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yes.
They had to step up. Most people, they was educated. The teachers, I mean that they went to college and things like that. They thought they was more educated, so they went with what they were saying.
Yeah, and I can honestly say, regardless of what they create for us as, melanated people, we always find a way to transcend that. That's just who we are. That's what we are. So,
absolutely,
we're telling a story, but this story, and ultimately, this story is about transcendence. I mean, just to keep it a being, that's just what we're about. We're talking about special education. We're talking about, the pros and cons, this, that, and the third. But at the same time, this is a story of transcendence. And we transcended that, and we're telling, our journey. And, hopefully, and like I said, special ed of today is a little different. Most kids in special ed today, they legitimately have something going on,
right?
Physically, mentally, and that's the case today. But back then, we were test subjects, to be honest with you, for a system that didn't know what to do with us.
Right.
But no matter what they create for us, we will find a way to transcend that and be who we are. I'm gonna go to the chat for a minute. I have Joyce from Days In.
Can't believe you're still up.
Okay, yeah, there was somebody from Savannah, Georgia, who commented in the chat. That was Joyce from Savannah. Yeah, and I appreciate everybody who's commenting in the chat.
What was the comment? Can we hear it? Did we see it?
Yeah, I posted them. You wasn't reading none of them comments, Dre.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we got Taisha. She's down in Florida. She said peace.
Peace.
Hey.
In April posted another comment. I'm gonna put on the screen. Definitely can't fault the parents for their choice they made, because they listened to those who they felt were educators and felt that they were right and true. This is definitely the situation with my mom. She had faith in them that they were telling her, the right stuff to do. My
it's
mom.
Like it's almost like the older taking it to medical, but the older people like 80s, 90s thinking that the doctors know everything, like the doctors are God, and what the doctor says is what it actually.
A lot of people die from that advice too.
Right.
This is true.
Plenty of us have.
Not knocking the doctors. Definitely not knocking doctors. However,
but educate yourself going into just about any and every situation in this day and time, especially medical. Because I'm gonna tell you, when you go into these medical facilities and they kind of get a whiff of you, maybe, because I've had them asking me that, just by the way I'm questioning them, they'll say, "Are you in the medical field?" They'll treat you different.
They definitely treat you. I never tell them I'm a nurse, but they definitely treat you different.
And I've gotten that. So the thing is, whatever it is, educate yourself on it to a degree. So when you go into it, it's a level playing field where people are going to deal with you, on that level and not try to.
So when y'all say teach you difference, is a positive experience?
It's like getting pulled over by the police and don't know you got rights. And if you don't know you got rights, you ain't got no goddamn rights.
Right.
But I'm talking about y'all experience. Like what y'all talking, it sound positive. So
it is positive. Yeah.
It is.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like the minute they know, like that let's just say you are in the medical field, everybody straightens up and flies right.
Exactly.
And I've had cases where it's like, oh, this patient, is a nurse, or the son is a doctor, and it's like, okay, like, yeah.
Yep.
I like what she said, because that's an old school song. Straighten up and fly right. That's the old school, probably the 30s. Yeah. I can be right. Yeah. Okay, I hear you.
Yeah. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the 1.5 hour mark. The show was great. The takeaways are: we lived special ed to a degree in the 80s, some longer than others. The bottom line is we are diamonds coming out of this situation. And that's just the resilience of us just being, just from a melanated perspective. I mean, everybody is great in their own right, but I'm speaking from the melanated perspective, that we are a very special kind of being on this planet. So no matter what they throw at us, we will overcome it and transcend it. That's just what it is. And that's what makes us so special.
That's right.
But on that note, I want to thank everybody in the chat for showing up and supporting. Also, I'm gonna put in the chat. I mean, not the chat, but the group. I want everybody to go to YouTube, hit the like button. If you're not a member, subscribe and hit the bell. So each time we put a show up, you will be notified. So we're trying to get people to support more. And anybody in our Facebook group, I will be purging the group after this show. So if you're not active and not supporting, you just kind of holding a position, it's been real. See you on the other side. But I'm gonna purge the group, and it is what it is. So April, thanks for supporting. Drosette, thanks for supporting. Tiffany, beautiful me, thanks for supporting. And everybody else, Taisha, thank y'all for supporting, and please keep up with us because we put out very good content. And I like to thank my prestigious panel for coming through and blessing my platform with their presence. And we're gonna keep on doing what we do and be great as we be great. And on that note, we're gonna be up out of here.